Well, I thought I just couldn't get over the food. It was so delicious. I remember my first meal there. We had our old blue Buick, which we brought over with us, and I remember it being let down off the ship and sort of by a big crane, and then it sort of bounced on the dock, and we got into it and drove to Rouen. We landed in, where did we land? Oh, wherever you land, in Le Havre, that was it. And it was so exciting to see these medieval buildings, and I was just thrilled. And we had a beautiful first lunch at Rouen. It was at La Couronne, I think was the name of it. It was on the place where Joan of Arc was burned alive. And there was this lovely restaurant. I had my first pressed duck. That's lovely and there was a fire and this duck was rotating around it. And then they took it off at a certain point and cut off the legs, which were cooked further, and cut off the breasts, which were then sliced, put on a platter, and then they took the carcass and put it into this duck press, which is a big cylinder with a big turnabout thing, and went quack, 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 as they poured in a bottle of red burgundy, and all this delicious juice came out. And that was the sauce. That was a wonderful experience. We had my first French oysters, and then we had, those lovely little French cakes, which cost about $2 each. They were just delicious. I was hooked from then on, particularly as I had just started in cooking, and then to have this wonderful food as they had there. Because in America we had, Duncan Hines cake mixes and what would you call those things in Jell-O? The American food was very sort of like ladies' magazine food. But to have the French food was wonderful. So I never turned back. This was what I hadn't been turned on by anything until I really got into French food, and that really turned me on, particularly in that the chefs took it with such interest. It was a real art form with a history and a background. Escoffier and Larun's Gastronomique and so forth. But then I was there at the Cordon Bleu actually cooking. Well, this was a class. We had about 10 or 12, I think, and sometimes just 8. And then I met my 2 French colleagues. Because there wasn't at that time, this was, when was it, 45, 46. None of my American colleagues were even slightly interested in cooking. So I really had no one to talk to. And a French person I had met, knew of my interest, and so she introduced me to Simone Beck Fischbacher, known as Simca, who was very, very much interested and had been to the Cordon Bleu and had worked with Henri Pelleprat and so forth. And so that's how I started in with her. Then she invited to be a member of the Cercle des Gourmets, or the Circle of the Happy Eaters, I guess you'd call it, who met, I think once every 2 weeks in the kitchen of the electric or the gas company, and made themselves a wonderful lunch. And so that really started me in very much, and also meeting French people and getting the French idea of eating.